Hello and welcome to The Hero Spouse. I'm Kendra Ruth, here to answer one of your questions about marriage and midlife crisis. Today we have an anonymous female left behind and forward-moving spouse with a bomb drop of June 5th, 2022, a date of marriage of 2000, and she has a clinging boomerang who is a low-energy wallower. She says, he left in May of 2023. We're approaching the year mark from separation. And I'm finding myself wanting to put some boundaries in place. Good. That's good. For the first few months after he left, I didn't take or pick up the kids, who were 15 and 13, from his new place, as I just couldn't bring myself to go there. He started blaming me for the fact that my son 13 wasn't wanting to go there because I wouldn't go there to take and pick him up. How convenient is that? So I hesitantly started taking and picking up the kids from his new place. No surprise, it didn't change the fact that my son, who was 13, didn't want to go there. So now I've told him that I'm no longer going to pick them up or take them. I said, I understand that you want to be there, and you're free to make your own choices. However, you being there is not what the kids and I want. Therefore, I'm no longer willing to bring them over or pick them up. You're more than welcome to come here to the home to pick them up and to drop them off. He, of course, was quite angry. What are my thoughts? Well, the first thought I had was outside of a midlife crisis thing, and I'm sure every family does it differently, I guess. And it was always my dad's job to pick me up and drop me off. I live at the home. It wasn't my dad was the one who I was spending the time with on the weekend, so it was his job to get me there. And so it kind of surprised me that it was just assumed, it seems like, by both of you that it's your job to get the kids to his place. If he wants the children there, then he gets them there. And there may be some court orders about them that they should be there or not. It's still, now these are things that can be negotiated, because my mom occasionally would take me there. But usually that was because there was something going on. Either we had a reason to be, my dad lived like 40 miles away, and so we had a reason to be in town in the same space, or my dad just couldn't make it and something was going on. And, they'd been divorced since I was 4, and I remember the time my mom taking me, I was a teenager. I remember because there was funny comments about me showing up in a bikini from both parents. But that wasn't the norm. There were times when we couldn't coordinate, and I remember being exchanged at a mall. But it wasn't because my parents weren't being agreeable with each other. But sometimes that is something you do it on neutral territory when neither party is when there's high conflict. But in this, it's his job. And I'm just separating that from midlife crisis. Yes, this is an absolutely appropriate boundary. It can be definitely because you don't want him, because he's willing to, or I'm sorry, because you are validating you want to be somewhere else. That's fine. It's your choice. You being there isn't what we want, but it's not even because you being there what's what we want. If the children are going to spend time with you at their home, at your home, then you need to find a way to get them there. It's as simple as that. And then you go on, it is not my job. It is my job to encourage them to continue to respect you and to love you. And I am hoping that I can encourage them to want to spend quality time with you. But they are old enough to make a decision about what they like. That doesn't necessarily, I think they're even old enough to have more say in what they spend their weekends doing. But even if they were 7, you can't force somebody to want something or like something. You could say, honey, if you're 7 and they're not, you have to go to daddy's house this weekend. But you can't make that child like it. And what he's doing, what all these guys do, and all the women do, and divorce or MLC or no MLC, the leaving party. Children are resilient. They're not as resilient as we think. And sometimes we don't recognize that until they have their own midlife crisis or something. Sometimes they hide it, they come through, but some of them don't. Even as teenagers, we have issues with children cutting, with children going into disease, higher rates of dropout, higher rates of teen pregnancy. All of these are problems of children of divorce. Children are not resilient. Resilience is built up through lower levels of trauma in childhood. And we can erode it with more traumas. Not that we're at fault for all traumas. I mean, you have a tornado come through your house, you handle it well, but it's still a trauma, right? And so our children we're all going to be exposed to some traumas. And some of us may have greater natural levels of resiliency or less than others. But we erode our natural resiliency with trauma. We build it up with safety, with comfort, with how we overcome trauma and how we come together and the empathy that we bring to it. And so he's going to use that excuse and he's going to blame twist at you because this is what they do. It is easier for him to say, it's your fault, you're alienating him against me. But what it really is disrespectful to your son, because a 13-year-old is old enough to figure out what they want, what they like, and whether they have a choice in doing an action, such as staying in his house or not. He's getting to that point. They are able to verbalize their choice, even if that they want something. And they are able to figure it out on their own without the greater influence from the parents. He can see mom's hurt, but mom being hurt, forget that. He's hurt. Dad, his whole world has suddenly fallen apart. The world he had of safety and security where two parents were there is no longer present. And not only that, because that world has fallen apart, his mom is struggling. You're struggling. And he sees that. And of course, so he could sometimes they'll blame the person who's struggling for it. Sometimes they'll blame you because you're being weak and I need you. And just get over it. But more, you're hurting mom. And I'm mad at you for hurting mom. And you're the one doing this. They know where the blame lies. And he is going to go, well, you're alienating them because there are two sides to this pancake. Sure there are. Of course there are. But one side might not have the same sins or the same level of sins, ranking of them, sorry, if we're going to rank them, or amount of sins. Maybe one person tried and had, I wasn't perfect, but we did a good job. And the other person has abandoned the family. Now, you can give him some truth darts. Now, he's not going to like them. He's going to monster. He's going to get angry. So here's what I want you to do. Accept that. Do not be afraid of monster. Know that this is what they do. Because if he couldn't do this, he would have to say, well, if it's not her, wow, it must be me. And it is him. But to acknowledge that means to face it. And that's what we're avoiding. That is what escape and avoid is avoiding. That I'm the one accountable for this. I'm the one responsible. And if I'm the one responsible, I'm the only one who can fix it. And so he's avoiding that. He is going to blame you. And that is so disrespectful to your son. Your son needs to, at some point, say, you know what? I can make up my own mind. I can have my own opinions. And when you say that, you're disrespecting me. 13-year-olds have their own opinions. They have a lot of them. And so there needs to be, I do think some truth darts come in. But I don't want you to go at that thinking, truth darts will solve the problem. Sometimes it's more about, sometimes you just have to have a say. And he is going to monster. And you're going to say, I'm sorry you feel that way. Or you're going to, you know what? You know that's not true. I like that that's not true. Sometimes you can say, I'm sorry you feel that way. Or I like not quite validating. I like validating feelings. I'm sorry you feel. But if they say something that is just absurd, make it as a fact. He's picking you over me. That would be an I'm sorry you feel that way. But that's not really true. He's picking our home over me, over you, or over your apartment. He's picking his home. He's picking the place where there was comfort and stability and security. He's picking the pieces that didn't abandon him. And when you think about that, you know that too. So I'm trying to make it as fact, something that's not, they can dispute it, but we're not presenting it as something disputable. Because what you're dealing with is normal, and it sucks. I'm not saying it normal to minimize it. It sucks. And so you're going to have to face that. And yes, you made the right call. You should not have been taking those kids unless if you're getting along and you're helping out, that's okay to take them or pick them up. But it should not be your job. It is his. It is the leaving person's job. Okay? And I want you to feel strong in that. And then I hope this is helpful. I will see everybody in the next question.